What should I say? What should I do? How do I approach a woman? These must be the most common questions people ask at first when they get into learning about men, women and seduction. However, it really doesn't matter what you say or do, but who you are being when you approach a woman. Look, a self-rejecting, timid man will fail almost all of his approaches, even if he has the best opening lines. But the man who is solid and grounded will succeed most of his and without any special lines. Having said that, I also recognize that you will need to have something to say in order to start practicing meeting women. So in this video, I will give you guidelines and a few opening lines. Let's start with some of the most common mistakes guys make when approaching a woman. Mistake number 1. Trying to impress a woman. My intuition tells me that this is by far the greatest common mistake guys make. Here's what usually happens. A guy sees a woman he finds intriguing. Automatically, he starts thinking of some clever lines to start the conversation. Usually, he won't come up with anything, and just like that, he also never approaches a woman. Trying to impress a woman makes a man more nervous than he should be. Mistake number 2. Being attached to the outcome. The outcome can be wanting her number or to set up a date and so on. The reason this is bad is because, again, it makes you nervous and gets you stuck in your head. Because then you will always be thinking when to ask her number or to propose a date. This will prevent you from being present with the girl and ultimately keeps you from forming a real connection which could lead to a date. Also, if you are so attached to the outcome of getting a date, you will become blind to her bad qualities and may end up on a date with a woman you don't actually like. Yikes! Mistake number 3. Beating around the bush. I can't believe how many times guys have missed out on girls because they just didn't have the balls to let the woman know that they find her intriguing. They don't build any sexual tension. Instead, they are being extra nice to the girl. And while yes, you should be nice, women also require to feel a man's desire for them. Think about this. If a man doesn't have the balls to let the woman know about his desire for her, then the woman will also just assume that this man has no balls in other areas as well. That is really unattractive. And besides, if you approach a girl, she already assumes that you like her at least to a degree. If you then just try to hide it, you are gonna make it super awkward. Okay, those were the mistakes I wanted to point out. Now, let's look at how to approach a woman. The first thing you need to know is that if possible, position yourself in a way that the woman you're interested in can see you first, so that the two of you would have a chance to make eye contact before you approach. When I approach a woman, it's mostly this way, because having eye contact first lets me know if I am invited and if the woman is curious about me. That's also why I almost never get rejected. I go where I am invited. Of course, this isn't always an option, but eye contact first is the favorite way for women to be approached. Either way, when I see a woman I'm intrigued by, my first thoughts usually are, she looks lovely, I wonder if I like her. This is the polar opposite of mistake number 1, trying to impress her. I become curious about the girl and then I start moving in her direction. While walking towards her and during the initial conversation, I am just looking to see if our personalities match. I'm not thinking ahead of time in the regard that I need to get the phone number or a date or something to make the interaction a success. I mean, I don't know yet if I even like the girl. But as long as I have showed up as a man, it is a success for me. And showing up as a man means that I put myself out there. Without apology, I show my interest towards her. Now that I have talked about the mentality side of approaching, let's continue with what to say. And spoiler alert, I mostly keep it simple. I usually rely on my philosophy of speaking your truth. Let me give you some examples. Years back, I was about to leave the gym when I saw a beautiful woman. I wanted to approach her, but I didn't know how or what to say. I was about to leave, but then I realized that later I would be just pissed at myself for not walking up to her. And this is also one of the first times it dawned on me to just speak your truth. So I walked up to her and said, "Hey." Then I waited for her to acknowledge me, which she did by taking her headphones off. Then I just continued. "You know what? I was looking at you from there and thought that later I would be really pissed at myself if I didn't come to meet you. So here I am." She took that info in, thought for a second, and then started smiling. We then began talking and getting to know each other a bit. Now, my opening line wasn't clever or anything. I wasn't trying to figure out how to impress her. All I did was speak my truth. Easy, right? Look, most people overthink this. So let me give you 2 other examples and show you how simple it should be. When you see an intriguing woman in a setting where it's not common to hit on her, then just acknowledge that and continue with whatever you wanted to say. "Hey, I know this is a little out of the ordinary, but there's something about you and I just had to come and meet you." Nothing fancy, still works. But all in all, whatever the situation is, my personal favorite is, "Hey, I want to meet you." That's it. It's really that simple. The basic formula for approaching is this. You walk up to her, preferably having had eye contact first, but if not, that's okay as well. Then you say, "Hey," and then give the context to why you're there, or just make a statement or ask a question. "Hey, I want to meet you." "Hey, you look like the type of girl I would like." "Hey, what you drinking?" Does this work all the time? Of course not. Nothing does. But it's way more successful than those over-the-top pickup lines. Now, I know that for some of you, this advice was probably a little anticlimactic. I didn't teach you to say anything clever, but that's only because it is not needed, and I love to teach the most simple yet effective things. Before I end this, let me tell you that I have created a small playlist called Approaching Problems. If you want to get some more knowledge about the subject of approaching, then just push the picture right here. Okay, I'm out now. I hope I helped you, and bye bye.